You're about to walk into your boss's office and ask for a raise. You've rehearsed what you'll say 100 times. But here's the thing. One wrong sentence could blow the whole thing up. The words you think make you sound confident are actually making your boss cringe and costing you thousands. Look, asking for a raise is terrifying. Your palms sweat, your voice shakes, and you're pretty sure your boss can hear your heart pounding through your shirt. But here's what nobody tells you. It's not just about being brave enough to ask. It's about knowing what not to say. Because here's the reality. One wrong move, one entitled-sounding phrase, one emotional outburst, and you've just torched your chances of getting paid what you're actually worth. And in an economy where rent is eating half your paycheck and your student loans are basically a second mortgage, you can't afford to mess this up. You're watching M3 Money Mindset Makeover. This isn't just a channel, it's a mindset revolution. We're here to help you break free from the cycle of being underpaid and undervalued in a system that's designed to keep you exactly where you are. Subscribe to Elevate Your Money Mindset. Elevate your life. Today we're diving into the 7 phrases that will absolutely destroy your salary negotiation. And more importantly, what to say instead. Because knowing what not to do is just as powerful as knowing what to do. And by the end of this video, you'll have the exact blueprint to walk into that office, own the conversation, and actually get the raise you deserve. Let's get into it.
Mistake 1. I deserve a raise.
Here's the problem with this phrase. It sounds confident, right? It sounds like you're standing up for yourself. But to your boss, it sounds entitled. It sounds like you're making demands instead of building a case. See, the word deserve implies that you're owed something just for existing. Like showing up to work and doing your job is some kind of heroic act that should automatically result in more money. But here's the harsh truth. Your boss doesn't care what you think you deserve. They care about what you deliver. Instead of saying, I deserve a raise, flip the script. Talk about the value you bring. Say something like, over the past year, I've increased our team's efficiency by 25%, taken on 3 major projects outside my job description, and consistently exceeded my performance targets. Based on that impact and the current market rate for my role, I'd like to discuss a salary adjustment to X dollars. See the difference? One sounds like you're demanding a participation trophy. The other sounds like you're presenting a business case. Because that's what a raise negotiation is. It's a business transaction, not a feelings session. Your boss isn't sitting there wondering what you deserve. They're wondering if you're worth the investment. Show them you are. Bring receipts, bring numbers, bring proof that you're making their life easier and the company more money. Mistake 2, I need a raise because of my personal expenses. Listen, I get it. Your rent went up again. Your car just died. Your credit card debt is spiraling. Student loans are suffocating you. Welcome to being a millennial or Gen Zer in 2026, where everything costs twice as much and pays half as well. But here's the brutal reality. Your boss doesn't care. Not because they're heartless, though some definitely are, but because they literally cannot make business decisions based on your personal life. Your rent increase is not their problem. Your medical bills are not their concern. Your decision to adopt 3 cats and finance a gaming setup is not factoring into their budget meeting. When you bring personal expenses into the conversation, you're essentially saying, I need more money because my life is expensive. And all your boss hears is, I'm bad at managing money and I want you to fix it for me. Instead, focus on professional reasons. Talk about your skills, your experience, your accomplishments, and, this is key, the market value of your position. Do your research. Go on Glassdoor, Salary.com, PayScale. Find out what people in your role, in your city, with your experience are making. Then use that data. Say something like, based on industry standards and my 3 years of experience in this role, the current market rate ranges from X to Y salary. Given my performance and contributions, I believe a salary of Z is appropriate and competitive. Now you're speaking their language. You're not asking them to subsidize your lifestyle. You're asking them to pay you what the market says you're worth. Big difference. Mistake 3. I got a better offer from another company. Oh, this one. This is the nuclear option that so many people think is a power move. I'll just tell them I have another offer and they'll match it. Except that's not how it works. Using a competing offer as leverage can backfire in spectacular ways. First, Your boss might feel threatened or blindsided, like you've been interviewing behind their back and only bringing it up now as blackmail. Second, even if they match the offer, they'll remember that you were willing to leave. Your loyalty is now permanently questioned. And third, the worst-case scenario, they might just call your bluff. Okay, take it. And now you're stuck either leaving a job you actually wanted to stay at or admitting you were lying, which is even worse. But here's the real twist. Threatening to leave shows your boss that you're not committed, that you're already 1 foot out the door. And companies don't invest in people who are about to bounce. Instead, flip this entire strategy. If you genuinely want to stay at your current company, focus on that. Talk about your growth potential there. Say something like, I'm really invested in the work we're doing here, and I see a lot of opportunity to grow with the team. I want to continue contributing at a high level, and I'd like to discuss how we can align my compensation with the value I'm bringing and my long-term goals here. Now you're showing commitment, passion, and vision. You're saying, I want to be here, but I also want to be paid fairly. That's a conversation your boss can work with. If you do have another offer and you're genuinely considering leaving, that's a different conversation entirely, and you need to be prepared to walk if they can't meet your number. But don't use it as a negotiation tactic unless you're ready to follow through. Mistake 4. I've been here for a long time, I deserve a raise. Ah yes, the loyalty argument. I've been here for 5 years, doesn't that count for something? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Not really. I know that sounds harsh. And yes, loyalty and longevity have value, but only if you've been actively growing, contributing, and evolving during that time. Simply occupying a desk chair for 5 years doesn't automatically make you worth more money. Think about it from your boss's perspective. Are you the same employee you were 5 years ago? Or have you developed new skills, taken on more responsibility, increased your impact? Because if you're doing the exact same job the exact same way you did it 5 years ago, then why would they pay you more? This is where you need to highlight your growth trajectory. Don't just say, I've been here for 5 years. Say, over the past 5 years, I've grown from an entry-level position to managing 3 direct reports, led the implementation of our new CRM system, and increased our customer retention rate by 30%. My contributions have evolved significantly, and I believe my compensation should reflect that growth. See the difference? You're not asking for a raise because you showed up. You're asking for a raise because you've become more valuable over time. You've leveled up. You've invested in yourself and in the company. Longevity is only worth something if it comes with growth. Otherwise, you're just older, and nobody pays extra for that. Mistake 5. I heard someone else got a raise. I want one too. Oh man, this one is a minefield. Comparing your salary to your coworkers is one of the fastest ways to make your boss completely shut down. First of all, bringing up someone else's salary is unprofessional. It puts your boss in an awkward position. They can't discuss another employee's compensation with you, and now you're forcing them into that corner. It also makes you sound petty, like you're keeping score instead of focusing on your own value. But here's the deeper issue. You don't actually know the full story. Maybe that coworker negotiated better when they were hired. Maybe they have certifications you don't. Maybe they've taken on responsibilities you're not aware of. Maybe they've been there longer, or they have a different role entirely. You're comparing apples to oranges and making assumptions based on incomplete information. And honestly, even if you do know their full story, even if you know for a fact that you're doing the same work for less money, bringing them up in your negotiation still makes you look insecure. Instead, make your case about you. Talk about your accomplishments, your skills, your market value. Say something like, I've been researching industry standards for my role, and based on my experience level and the responsibilities I've taken on, I believe a salary adjustment to X dollars is appropriate. Keep the focus on your own performance. Keep the conversation professional. Don't make it about Bob in accounting or Sarah in marketing. Make it about the value you bring and the investment your company should be making in you. Now hold on, because this part matters. If you later discover you're genuinely being underpaid compared to colleagues doing identical work, that's a bigger conversation about equity and fairness. But that's not a raise negotiation. That's a compensation review based on internal equity. And that requires a different approach entirely, possibly involving HR. Mistake 6. I can't believe you're not giving me a raise. People actually say this. They get emotional, they get frustrated, and they lose their cool in the meeting. And the second you do that, you've lost. Getting upset, crying, or lashing out during a salary negotiation is career suicide. It damages your relationship with your boss, makes you look unprofessional, and ensures that any future conversations about money will be even harder. I get it. Rejection stings. Especially when you've worked hard, you know you deserve more, and you're barely scraping by as it is. But losing your composure in that moment tells your boss that you can't handle difficult conversations or disappointment professionally. And that's a terrible signal to send. Instead, if your request gets denied, stay calm. Take a breath. And ask strategic questions. Say something like, I appreciate you considering my request. Can you help me understand what specific benchmarks or accomplishments I would need to achieve in order to be considered for a raise in the future? And what timeline would you recommend for us to revisit this conversation? Now you've turned a no into actionable feedback. You've shown maturity, professionalism, and a commitment to growth. You've kept the door open for future negotiations. And you've maintained your dignity and your relationship with your boss. Plus, here's the reality check. If your company genuinely cannot or will not pay you what you're worth, even after you've made a strong case and demonstrated your value, then you have information. You know where you stand. And you can make an informed decision about whether to stay or start looking for opportunities elsewhere. On your terms, not in an emotional moment. Mistake 7. I don't really need a raise, but... Why? Why would you start your negotiation by undermining yourself? I don't really need a raise, but instantly tells your boss that you're not serious, that you're uncomfortable asking, that you don't actually believe you deserve it. And if you don't believe it, why should they? This phrase usually comes from discomfort with advocating for yourself. Maybe you feel guilty asking for more money. Maybe you're worried about seeming greedy. Maybe you're afraid of rejection, so you're preemptively softening the blow. But here's what that does. It tanks your negotiation before it even starts. When you're asking for a raise, you need to be confident and assertive. Not arrogant, but firm. You need to believe in your value and communicate it clearly. Say something like, I'd like to discuss my compensation. Based on my contributions over the past year and the market rate for my position, I believe a salary increase to X dollars is justified. Direct, clear, confident. No apologizing, no hedging, no self-sabotage. If you're not comfortable asking for money, practice. Write out your talking points. Rehearse them in the mirror or with a friend. Record yourself and listen back. Get comfortable with the words. Because confidence isn't about being fearless, it's about being prepared. And remember, asking for fair compensation is not greedy. It's not entitled. It's not rude. It's advocating for yourself in a world that will absolutely underpay you if you let it. Let's zoom out for a second, because here's what's really happening. You're probably underpaid right now. Statistically, most people are, especially millennials and Gen Z. You've been told to pay your dues, to be grateful you even have a job, to wait your turn. Meanwhile, rent costs half your income, your student loans are crushing you, inflation is making groceries feel like a luxury purchase, and your paycheck hasn't budged in 3 years. And when you finally work up the courage to ask for a raise, when you finally advocate for yourself, you're expected to navigate this minefield of corporate politics, unspoken rules, and psychological games. One wrong word and you're done. It's exhausting, and really just unfair, and maybe even go as far as to say it's rigged. But here's what I need you to understand. You're not powerless. You're not stuck. You can get paid what you're worth, but you have to know how to play the game. Not by being manipulative, but by being strategic. By understanding the psychology of negotiation and the language of value. Because your boss isn't trying to screw you over. Well, most of them aren't. They're trying to manage a budget, justify expenses to their boss, and keep the company running. If you can speak their language, if you can show them the ROI on investing in you, you massively increase your chances of getting that raise. Here's the mindset shift you need to make right now. A raise negotiation is not about what you need. It's not about what you deserve. It's not even really about you at all. It's about value exchange. You're not asking for a favor and you're not begging. You're presenting a business case for why increasing your compensation is a smart investment for the company. You're showing them that keeping you happy and engaged costs less than losing you and having to hire and train someone new. This is where broke ends and ownership begins. When you walk into that meeting, you're not an employee pleading for scraps. You're a professional presenting data, demonstrating impact and negotiating terms. You're the CEO of your own career, and this company is your client. And if they can't or won't pay you what you're worth, that's valuable information. That tells you it's time to find a client who will. All right, let's bring this home. We've covered the 7 deadly phrases that will tank your salary negotiation. I deserve a raise. Instead, focus on value and impact, not entitlement. I need a raise because of personal expenses. Instead, keep it professional and market-focused. I got a better offer. Instead, show commitment, not threats. I've been here a long time. Instead, highlight growth and contributions, not just tenure. Someone else got a raise. Instead, make it about your value, not comparisons. I can't believe you're not giving me a raise. Instead, stay calm and professional, always. I don't really need a raise, but instead, be confident and assertive in your ask. When you avoid these mistakes and instead focus on demonstrating your value, presenting market data, and maintaining professionalism, you put yourself in the strongest possible position to actually get paid what you're worth. And remember, if you do everything right and they still say no, that's not a reflection of your value. That's a reflection of what they value. And you get to decide if you want to stay in a place that doesn't invest in you. Now here's the thing. If you want to nail that raise negotiation, you need to know your numbers inside and out. Like actually know them. That's where zero-based budgeting comes in. And trust me, this isn't your boring finance advice. I made a whole video breaking down zero-based budgeting because it's honestly a game changer. It'll show you exactly where your money's going, help you prove why you need that raise, and give you rock-solid confidence when you walk into your boss's office. Click here to watch it next. It's the perfect follow-up to what we just covered, and it'll seriously add value to your whole salary negotiation strategy. Let's keep this momentum going. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. See you there, M3 family.